Movie Line interview Jennifer Lopez did in 1998 when she was 27 years old was just horrible, and it should have ended her career. Now, she was fresh off the success of her film Selena, and she basically decided to trash all other celebrities that were big at the time and was trying to trivialize their career and contribution to the industry. In fact, when she was asked about Madonna, she said, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they can say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, this is so ironic because JLo would go on to do both music and acting for the rest of her career. Also, at the time, Madonna had been a star for a lot longer than JLo, so there was really no comparison there. Now, JLo has been caught on camera by the paparazzi for her rude behavior many times. In one clip, she's seen getting into her car, and when one of the paps say thanks, she yells at them to go to hell. In another clip, she's seen yelling at the paps, telling them to stay away from her, and again, she is seen begging them to leave her alone, even though JLo is known to call the paparazzi on herself. Now, Meghan McCain just exposed Jennifer for being a horrible guest when she was on The View. Now, Meghan spoke about it on a recent podcast, saying, "I feel bad because we're turning the point where there's bullying happening to JLo," but added she just is a deeply unpleasant person. She had the biggest entourage I've ever seen when she was on The View. Now, more than Kim Kardashian and the president. Now, Meghan also went on to recall a time where Jennifer allegedly had an employee holding a mirror with lights while they were touching her up backstage the whole time. Now, after witnessing Jennifer's behavior backstage, coupled with her own 10-minute interview with the star, Meghan said, "I was a host at The View, she was not nice. You don't always have to be nice, but it was surprising that people like Kim Kardashian couldn't be more delightful." And she added, "When you're going on a show for a 10-minute segment, just fake it till you make it for 10 effing minutes." Now, obviously, JLo acted all perky and happy when the cameras were on, but Meghan paints a very different picture from when the cameras stopped rolling. As we all know, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck got married, but their relationship didn't last long. Now, Ben has been open about being an alcoholic and maintaining his sobriety, which he has been doing successfully for years now. Shortly after Jennifer did a Today interview, the former couple were filmed having what looked like a tense argument. In the clip that quickly went viral on TikTok, JLo appears to taste Ben's drink and then look at him sternly. She seems visibly upset with her husband as he tries to defend himself and repeatedly says Jen. Now, he could also be seen yelling over the music that he did not drink anything. Now, it was theorized at the time that Ben was insisting that he hadn't been drinking alcohol and that she was tasting his drink to check it in the video. Now, that video has been viewed around 2 million times so far, but surprisingly, most people seem to think that Jennifer is being unsupportive of Ben's struggles. It just looks like she doesn't trust him, which is concerning.
Jennifer Lopez has been refused entry into one of Hollywood's most loved high-end retail stores. Jennifer Lopez, the global superstar triple threat kind of, well, the woman whose name alone turns head, just experienced something that sounds almost impossible, being refused entry into a Chanel store. And not just any Chanel, we're talking about one of the most exclusive Chanel boutiques in Istanbul. Now, it all went down on August 4th. JLo was in the city for her Up All Night Live in 2025 tour, looking every inch, you know, the icon in baby pink sunglasses, sleek hair, and a perfectly coordinated look that basically screamed fashion royalty. She was shopping at the high-end Istine Park Mall, and naturally, you know, she made her way towards Chanel. I mean, Chanel and JLo, that's like a match made in couture heaven, but instead of the royal welcome you would expect, security at the boutique stopped her right at the door. They told her the store was at capacity and that she'd have to wait. Yes, Jennifer Lopez, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, one of the most recognizable women on the planet, was literally told she couldn't come in. No special treatment, no right this way, Miss Lopez, nope, just like nothing. And here's where the humiliation part hits. In full view of onlookers, JLo had to just simply turn away. No one whisked her inside, there was no immediate apologies. She just kind of shrugged, smiled, and walked off. But, you know, then comes the twist. Moments later, Chanel staff realized exactly who they had just denied. They rushed after her, of course, inviting her back into the store, but by then the damage was done. I mean, she didn't just declare decline. She declined with style. She took her business elsewhere, heading to other luxury boutiques like Celine and Bayman, where she reportedly dropped tens of thousands of dollars. That, my friends, is what I call revenge shopping. A very Pretty Woman moment, like one of those big mistake, huge moment. Now imagine the look on Chanel's face as they watch JLo kind of just waltz into a rival store and give them all the sales that they just lost. That's not just a missed sale, that's a full-on PR facepalm. I bet they all got fired, probably the next hour. Now for the record, JLo didn't make a scene, she didn't pull the whole "do you know who I am" kind of card like she did that time she walked past her old house in the Bronx and that old man had not a single clue who she was. No, she didn't do that. She didn't even rant on Instagram, she didn't call her team to make a statement. She handled it with cool, almost kind of icy grace. I mean, which, let's be real, might sting even more for Chanel because she made it clear she doesn't need their approval or their store. If you don't recognize the queen at the door, she'll just take her crown and her credit card somewhere else. Still, it's wild when you think about it. This is Jennifer Lopez, international superstar, hitmaker, movie star, a woman whose Met Gala looks live rent-free in our heads forever, and yet she gets treated like any random shopper in line. I mean, it is kind of a rare reminder that sometimes even the biggest names in the world get told no. After wrapping up her Istanbul show the next day, JLo is continuing her tour and gearing up for her next big movie role in Kiss of the Spider-Woman, which hits theaters in October. So Chanel may have shut the door, but she's still winning, and you know, she's winning in heels most people couldn't even stand in or afford. The moral? Well, Chanel's door may have been closed, but JLo walked away with her dignity, her style, and an armful of shopping bags from their competitors. And now, instead of a quiet shopping trip, it's a global headline, one where Jennifer Lopez does get the last laugh. Jennifer Lopez is humiliating herself yet again, but it keeps getting worse. Jennifer Lopez is back in the headlines again, and not for the reasons she'd probably hoped. At 56 years old, the superstar is currently on tour celebrating her birthday and her decades-long career, but instead of applause, she's getting roasted. And not in the fun Comedy Central way. Let's talk about that moment first, when JLo decided to stop mid-performance to announce to her audience that she has, well, intimate encounters with men. She announced this out loud, proud, and just baffling. I mean, the crowd was audibly confused, like, okay, thank you for that, Jen. It was honestly the kind of awkward overshare that made you want to like clutch your pearls and just check if someone's aunt accidentally wandered on stage. Fans were quick to call it desperate, you know, saying it felt less like female empowerment and more like someone trying just way too hard to be shocking in a world that's already seen it all. And then there's the dance routine that's now circulating online, because of course it is. In this viral moment, Jennifer performed an extremely graphic routine, simulating various inappropriate positions while her dancers surrounded her on stage. Look, JLo has always been known for her confidence and sensuality, but this wasn't a hot comeback. It was giving high school talent show if the theme was like trying to be edgy for attention. Even her most loyal fans were confused. Comments rolled in, you know, saying things like, "This isn't art, it's awkward," and "Why is she grinding the floor like she lost a contact lens?" Even Megyn Kelly jumped in to tear her apart, of course, comparing her act to softcore POR. You know what I'm saying and where I'm going with that. So yeah, and questioning, you know, why a woman of JLo's caliber with her decades of success feels the need to go this far to stay relevant. Kelly said it bluntly. She's humiliating herself. And to be fair, it's not entirely wrong. JLo has built an empire off talent, discipline, and image control. So watching her crawl across the stage like a college freshman at her first frat party feels off-brand at best and cringe at worst. Now, the Daily Mail covered her 56th birthday show, calling it a celebration of her life and body, but even their coverage read like a polite family member trying to support your bad decisions with a forced smile. The performance wasn't about vocals, it wasn't about dance precision, it was about JLo proving yet again that she's still that girl. But instead of, you know, slaying, she slid straight into secondhand embarrassment territory. I mean, the irony, this tour is titled "This Is Me Now," as in this is the evolved, present-day version of Jennifer Lopez. But if this is the new her, it's looking like the old her might have been better at reading the room, because while she's out here serving still hot and I'll prove it, the public is quietly saying, "We know, girl, but like, we don't need a live demo." And don't get it twisted, this isn't about ageism. You know, Madonna, Cher, Tina Turner, like plenty of icons have kept it hot, fierce, and fabulous well into their later years. But what makes them stand out is that they know how to evolve with their audience, not against them. JLo's recent performances are starting to feel, you know, less like a celebration of her legacy and just like more like a panic response to dwindling attention. In a social media age where, virality is currency, Jennifer's kind of leaning hard into shock value, but at what cost? I mean, she's losing the mystique, the elegance, the cool girl confidence that made her a global icon. Instead of reinventing herself, she's chasing clicks, and honestly, it's getting a little painful to watch. So yes, Jennifer Lopez, has humiliated herself again, and unfortunately this time it's even worse than the last. But it doesn't just look desperate, it looks like she's forgotten who she really is. Mariah Carey. I don't know her wasn't just a meme, so we've all heard the iconic Mariah Carey line, I don't know her. It's been memed into oblivion, but the shade wasn't random, the backstory deep. I mean, back in the early 2000s, Mariah and J.Lo were both under Sony. Mariah was working on her Glitter soundtrack and had sampled Yellow Magic Orchestra's Firecracker. Now weeks later, surprise, J.Lo dropped I'm Real using the exact same sample and released it first. Mariah reportedly felt sabotaged by Sony, specifically by Tommy Mottola, which was her ex-husband and music executive, who was now backing J.Lo. So, when a reporter asked her about J.Lo, that very cold I don't know her was allegedly less about ignorance and more like I don't mess with her. Petty maybe, but if you believe the timeline, J.Lo's come up came with a side of sabotage. Leah Remini, from BFF to like silent distance. Now Leah Remini and J.Lo were besties for years, red carpets, vacations, TikToks, but somewhere between 2022 and now, radio silence. I mean, fans noticed Leah didn't attend J.Lo's Georgia wedding to Ben Affleck, and she wasn't in the Mother premiere either. So for two women who were basically inseparable, it raised a lot of eyebrows. Now Leah's cryptic posts about protecting your peace and knowing who's real only added fuel to the fire. I mean, neither women have addressed it publicly, but the rumor mill says Leah got tired of J.Lo's controlling behavior and her kind of all about me energy. It's honestly giving former ride or die turned completely dry. Christina Milian. So that Play song Drama, remember J.Lo's hit Play? It was an absolute bop, but plot twist, Christina Milian wrote it, recorded it, and even sang the demo, and J.Lo basically swooped in and claimed it. To this day, the background vocals on the track are still Christina's voice, and guess what? They didn't even bother to re-record with J.Lo's vocals. I mean, Christina has since said she was, happy J.Lo got the song, but fans side-eyed the situation hard. It fit a growing pattern of J.Lo taking credit or fronting vocals while other artists quietly played the background. Some called it business, others called it calculated. You decide. Rihanna, the subtle snub heard around the world. Now back in 2016, rumors swirled about J.Lo dating Drake right after he and Rihanna had a little thing. I mean, within weeks of the J.Lo Drake cozy up, Rihanna unfollowed J.Lo on Instagram. Now Rihanna doesn't say much, but when she unfollows someone, I mean, that's pretty loud, especially since she and J.Lo had been friendly before. I mean, fans speculated it wasn't just the Drake drama, it was the whole jumping on a trend to stay relevant vibe that rubbed Rihanna the wrong way. And let's be honest, I mean, J.Lo's Insta, PDA with Drake did feel like a little performative. Nicki Minaj, side eyes and on stage shade. At the 2015 AMAs, Nicki Minaj made headlines for the look she gave J.Lo during her Anaconda performance. It was honestly daggers. I mean, why? Because J.Lo was dancing to Nicki's own song without Nicki involved in it at all. And given how protective Nicki is of her art, it felt like a power move she didn't co-sign. Later, Nicki threw some serious shade in interviews about certain pop stars borrowing from hip-hop without giving credit. Fans connected the dots, and let's just say the tension was not subtle. Let's get into J.Lo's most high-profile breakup. You already know who I'm about to mention. Yes, Ben Affleck. What's crazy about this one is that she had two high-profile breakups with him. Once in 2004 and then 20 years later in 2024. Now, Lopez and Affleck, or better known collectively as Bennifer by the press, met while filming Geely. We'll get into that one in a bit. And they got engaged in 2002. Their wedding was postponed multiple times due to media attention, and once in 2003, just one day before the ceremony, they made a joint statement that said, due to the excessive media attention surrounding our wedding, we have decided to postpone the date. When we found ourselves seriously contemplating hiring 3 separate decoy brides at 3 different locations, we realized that something was awry. We began to feel that the spirit of what should have been the happiest day of our lives would be compromised. We felt that what should have been a joyful and sacred day would be spoiled for us, our families, and our friends. So after that statement, they briefly split up, but then they actually rekindled the relationship, but then eventually called it off just 3 days before the wedding in January of 2004. Jennifer also told People magazine, and I quote, "We didn't try to have a public relationship, we just happened to be together at the birth of the tabloids. It was just a lot of pressure." Ben shared the same sentiments, and although it's reported that it was the pressure that was the main cause of their split, they also had conflicting schedules that made it really difficult critical to maintain a healthy work-life balance, and it is said that the couple had different views on what to share publicly, which led to like a lot of conflict and tension. Now, at the time, Lopez described the breakup as the biggest heartbreak of her life, and saying that it felt like her whole bleeping world exploded. It even made her question if she belonged in the entertainment business. She said it took her 2 years to get over Ben, meaning when she was married to Mark Anthony, she still had strong feelings for Ben. So that kind of sounds like a rebound to me, right? Now, the couple's relationship captivated audiences and reminded people that even glamorous relationships can and will face challenges. Jen and Ben literally went on to live 2 totally separate lives, but they did always remain on friendly terms and supportive of one another. Ben would go on to marry Jennifer Garner, with whom he has 3 children with, and J-Lo rebounded onto Mark Anthony, with whom she had twins Max and Em with. Ben continued his acting career, starring in films like Hollywoodland, The Town, Argo, and more, and Jennifer released several albums, including Rebirth in 2005, Brave in 2007, and Love in 2011. She even judged on American Idol from 2011 to 2016. Now, let's not forget her acting career though, because listen, I do really love me a good J-Lo rom-com, and she kept busy starring in movies like Made in Manhattan, Shall We Dance, Monster-in-Law, and in the more recent years, Second Act, Hustlers, and Shotgun Wedding. It's safe to say they both evolved as individuals and continued to grow while they were apart. Now, fast forward to April 2021, Lopez and Affleck rekindled their romance and were spotted together after they both separated from their other partners. In May, they both went on a trip to Montana together, and in July 2022, the couple secretly married in Las Vegas at the Little White Chapel. Sadly, for all Jennifer fans, this was short-lived as their marriage came to an end in August of 2024, when Lopez filed for divorce without a lawyer, citing irreconcilable differences. Now, a bit of deja vu here, because although I'm sure there were several factors that contributed to the breakdown of the relationship, but according to sources close to Lopez, Ben's discomfort with the paparazzi attention was a significant issue. Boy, like, I'm gonna need you to get yourself all the way together. Like, she was J-Lo in 2004. She's still J-Lo in 2024 too. Like, what's insanity again, doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? Anyway, additionally, Affleck was apparently uncomfortable with Lopez's decision to share private love letters with her music team. I actually don't think many fans were shocked though, because the months leading up to the split, there were so many signs of trouble. The couple was rarely seen together, and when they were, Ben looked so miserable, like just down astronomically bad. And there's even one video that looks to be Ben slamming the car door in Jennifer's face while out running errands. Just not a good look. And to every person watching that video, it signaled the beginning of the end. Now, this second split from Ben, of course, was devastating to Jennifer fans worldwide and shocked many. Actually, no, it didn't really shock too many, to be honest, but it was sad, like, nonetheless. Okay, before I send you guys off with J-Lo's most infamous interview that almost ruined her career, I first want to talk about J-Lo's worst film. Not Jersey Girl, which was bad, not Atlas, also bad, and not U-Turn, which I bet you haven't even heard of that one, so you're welcome. No, let's talk about Geely. And to be fair, it's so bad, it's still not good. She actually should have won a Razzie for it, honestly. But to give you the quickest synopsis possible, Geely, played by Ben Affleck, is ordered to kidnap the psychologically challenged younger brother of a powerful federal prosecutor. Now, when plans go wrong, Geely's boss sends in Ricky, played by Jennifer Lopez, a gorgeous, like, free-spirited female gangster who has her own set of orders to assist with the kidnapping. But Geely begins falling for the decidedly unavailable Ricky, which could be a hazard to his occupation. Geely is widely regarded as one of the worst films of the 2000s. It has like a confusing storyline, underdeveloped characters, cringeworthy dialogue, and the acting is honestly horrible. And not just from Jen, but like from literally every person starring in the film. And there's a lot of big actors in the film. But it's not any interview for that film that almost blew up her career and status in Hollywood. No, it's actually a 1998 interview with Movie Line. In this interview, she criticized several actresses' acting skills, saying that most were not good actresses and implying that acting is a craft that requires dedication and hard work. She went for Madonna, and to quote, she said, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yes. Do I think she's a great actress? No." She then went on to make even bigger mistakes by saying negative comments about other actresses, including Cameron Diaz, where she says, "A lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities I just wish she would have done more with. She's beautiful and has a great presence though." And then went in on Gwyneth Paltrow saying, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. Yes, she said all of that about Gwyneth Paltrow, like who would go on a few months later to win an Oscar. Her comments about Madonna, however, sparked a feud between the two, with Madonna later responding that Lopez couldn't sing. The interview was widely reported and created a media frenzy, damaging JLo's reputation and relationships within the industry. Lopez did apologize for her statements and said they were taken out of context and misquoted, but the damage was done, and it even made Lopez consider quitting the industry altogether. I just think it's funny that JLo had so many opinions on who is or isn't a great actress, as if she is a great actress herself. None of her critiques aged well, and most can be said about her today if we're being honest. The thing is too is that some of what she said had some truth, but the problem is whose mouth it came out of. She does not have a leg to stand on, and although I'm a fan of JLo's rom-coms, I still don't think she then nor now is in any position to throw shade when it comes to acting.
Now starting off, we have her falling out of her dress. In 2011, JLo had a mishap while on the German TV show When in Das. Now the show was being filmed in Spain when Jennifer suffered the embarrassment in front of a stadium audience as well as other celebrities present on the show. Now not to mention, the show was live. Now she first performed without any incidents, wearing a black mini dress and stilettos. Her second appearance on the show was a sit-down interview outside in a bullfighting arena. Now she looked amazing in a long belted dress with a plunging neckline and a matching head wrap. In true JLo style, she had a grand entrance in a horse-drawn carriage before taking a seat. Now as JLo was being helped to her seat by the show's host, the front of her dress opened a little bit too much and her entire breast fell out of her dress. Now a crowd of thousands was there to witness the infamous wardrobe malfunction, and within the hour the picture was on the cover of the world's #1 worldwide tabloid and on the internet. Next up is the awkward exchange. Now Jennifer and Ben were spotted out together amid divorce rumors, but their outing was just plain awkward and it seemed to make everything worse. Now the couple, joined by Ben's mom, were supporting the actor's son Samuel at his basketball game. As the pair walked in, Jen leaned forward to give Ben a slightly forced looking kiss on the cheek. Now Ben appeared to tense up and it didn't look like he enjoyed it at all. Now did Jen think doing this would show everyone that they're still in love and have no marriage problem? If so, it backfired because many people are calling the interaction forced and awkward. Ben then put his hand around JLo, but his hand never fully made contact with her lower back. Now it also seemed like he may have dodged a full-on kiss on the lips based on the off-kilter nature of the embrace. Now as they walked up the steps of the venue, Ben stayed at least 5 feet apart from JLo, who ventured ahead. Ben then took a moment to speak to his mom, looking more at ease before waving his hand at photographers, and then they all went inside. And now let's talk about the insensitive comments. Now let me give you some background onto why everyone felt that JLo was trashing belly dancing. So a part of the 2020 Super Bowl performance featured young dancers sitting in glowing cages, which many people assumed represented the immigrant children in cages at the US border. But JLo apparently had a hard time convincing the NFL to do this and says, quote, "I'm trying to give you something with substance, not just us out there shaking our effing butts and effing belly dancing." She went on to say that she wanted something real, something that's gonna make a statement, something that's gonna say we belong here and we have something to offer. Now if you're confused as to why this was controversial, it's essentially because she compared the art of belly dancing to just shaking your butt for the hell of it. In fact, that particular line was shared across Twitter and people were very mad. It was just a little culturally insensitive to say, considering that the dance has been associated with Middle Eastern cultures and it's something that Shakira has become known for, using it to channel her father's Lebanese, Syrian, Arab roots. Then there's the racism. 20 years ago, Lopez was approaching full actualization as an entertainer, but a single from her second album, JLo, almost derailed her career entirely. The Murder Inc. remix of I'm Real, which features Ja Rule and owned radio in 2001, was ruined by the N-word she drops in her final verse. Yes, now the issue was that the song was an instant hit, so much so that 10 years later in 2011, Billboard gave it the 6th spot on its 40 biggest duets of all times list. But rightfully so, people were outraged by her use of the loaded term. Not only because she's a Latina artist, but at her level of success where she has a platform and sets an example to young fans, using such a derogatory word is at best offensive. But as the accusations of racism started to mount against her, she eventually spoke out to defend her actions on the Today Show, saying, "For anyone to think or suggest that I'm racist is really absurd and hateful to me." Although many people think this is not an excuse, it was later revealed that the track was actually written by Ja Rule himself, and he encouraged JLo to say it. Moving on to to the price tag. Jennifer has suffered an awkward and somewhat revealing wardrobe malfunction while attending the Dolce & Gabbana fashion show at St. Mark's Square in Venice. Now, she managed to show just how much she spent on her outfit, literally. Though someone like J.Lo has a huge team surrounding her, they missed an important detail in her outfit, as Jennifer wound up with the paparazzi catching the price tag still attached to her outfit. Now, the label was only visible when the cape was blown open from the wind, which made it pretty noticeable in the photos of her outside. Now, the singer's bodyguard held her hand while she walked alongside her glam team, who again didn't seem to notice the tag hanging from her, which is just crazy because she has such a big team. Now, Jennifer didn't seem to notice it either, and I need to ask, were they planning on returning it? Did they leave it on purpose? And this isn't the first time that this has happened to a star, as a similar incident happened to Meghan Markle years back. Now, I just want to know why people on their team aren't being more attentive to detail, as the tag just ruins the whole outfit. Then there's the Mark Anthony romance. Celebrity gossip magazines could not get enough of the power couple in the early 2000s. They were absolutely everywhere, and it seemed like fans loved the pairing. But their beginnings as a couple were questionable to say the least. Anthony married former Miss Universe Dayanara Torres in 2000, while Jen was dating Ben Affleck around the same time. But the on-again off-again couple picked their romance back up while Anthony was still married to Dayanara. So less than a week after Anthony's divorce was finalized, the couple surprised fans by getting married in a small casual ceremony in her Beverly Hills home in early June. Now, it really begs the question to whether or not J.Lo was some kind of homewrecker, because the timeline of the rekindled relationship seemed really off. Now, I mean, he actually broke the other woman's heart, as she said, "You go through hell. I cried until there were no tears left, until I was numb. I didn't want to eat, I didn't care to get dressed or take a shower, I just wanted to lie there." Now, Anthony's feelings for Jennifer might have been there all along because the two had history, but he should have put more thought into who he chose to marry in the first place, so in a way, they're both at fault. On to Ben's love letters. Okay, so this isn't embarrassing because Ben truly loves her, but it's because J.Lo exposed Ben's love letters without asking him. Now, J.Lo released an album called This Is Me Now, and she made a movie for it and then a documentary for it. Now, the documentary exposed a lot about J.Lo and her life, and it was called The Greatest Love Story Never Told, and it was about the making of the record and the film. Now, when her husband Ben Affleck pops up in the doc, it's often to express concern his private love story is being used for something he didn't particularly want, which hey, can't blame him for that. Now, the doc is actually named after a scrapbook Ben gifted Jennifer for Christmas in 2021, stacked with every letter and email they'd written each other over the last 20 years. Now, Jennifer showed the book to her producers and songwriters on her first day of making her new album without asking or telling Ben. "It became like our Bible," she says in the doc. "We just left it there in the studio." Now, this revelation comes within the first 5 minutes of the doc, and right out of the gate, Ben is not shy about his discomfort. He's shocked that Jennifer would share something so personal with her collaborators, and now, of course, with the world. Then there's the performance gone wrong. In July 2022, while Jennifer was performing, she had a mishap with one of her outfits. While performing, her bodysuit ripped, forming a small visible hole on her backside during one of her songs, but she didn't miss a beat, continuing to sing and dance like the professional that she is. Now, she actually posted a video of it laughing at herself on her TikTok page. Jennifer combined the video with the viral sound "Oh No" by Creepa, and it definitely was an oh no moment indeed. Now, this isn't the first time she's had her bodysuit rip while performing, as in 2016 Jennifer was performing for a live audience in Las Vegas when she suffered a wardrobe malfunction towards the end of the show. When she and her other dancers went and thanked the crowd for coming out and taking their final bows, J.Lo had a mishap with her bodysuit. As she went on to link arms with the background dancers, unfortunately for her, when she bent down, the stitch around her hips burst open, showing a bit of skin underneath. Now, thankfully it happened at the end of her show, but wow, it sure does seem like this happens often. Next up is her diva behavior. In 1997, J.Lo had her big break in the film Selena. It was a success with audiences and critics. She was praised for her performance. She has been very successful as an actress and has appeared in numerous films, as well as her popular singing career. Now, she's one of the most recognizable and popular celebs in the world, so it makes sense that she has a large staff working for her. Now, apparently though, she also makes demands from her staff. In 2012, reports surfaced that Jenny from the Block demanded staff working for her make no eye contact contact or speak with her. While having work done on her San Fernando Valley home, she demanded that none of the helpers, drivers, or contractors have any interactions with her, although these rumors were never confirmed. And reportedly, when flying first class, she doesn't like anyone to bother her, even if it's a flight attendant. One time, a flight attendant offered her a drink and she refused to acknowledge him. She said to her assistant, "Please let him know I'd like a Diet Coke and lime." Now, this rumor hasn't been confirmed, but it does reinforce her diva image. It seems like she doesn't appreciate the help that she gets. And finally, we have too many requests. Now, for those of you who don't know, a rider is a list of requirements or conditions that a star expects in addition to their appearance fee when they are guests on shows or performing on tour. The celebrity gossip Instagram account De Moi recently shared a screenshot to reveal Jennifer's demand under a food rider. A source wrote to the IG handle "JLo's food rider," and it specifically includes pumpkin seed bark thins, which are only available in the fall, so the production office would have to buy out every store and store them away to make sure they didn't run out until the next fall. Now, in the following post, the source also confirmed Jennifer Lopez's beauty rider, which consisted of expensive skincare products, including the Dr. Hosheka Rose Day Cream, SK11 Essence, and Mask, as well as La Mer body lotion, among many others. Upon being asked whether the 3-time AMA winning songstress asked for those, the source quipped yes. Now, previously, back in October 2020, the celebrity gossip account had shared a photograph of a document that was allegedly the beauty selection of Jennifer's rider. Now, a total of 90 products were listed in the document, and her demands included 28 hair products, 4 masks, and 2 different sunscreens, to name a few. A series of unseen pictures from the night of the 2000 VMA ceremony show Diddy and then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez in a heated exchange. Now, the pair dated from 1999 to 2001, and the pictures were released by DailyMail.com. They show Diddy and JLo in a fight at an after-party for the 2000 MTV VMAs at the defunct Lotus nightclub in New York City. Now, the photos were taken on September 7th, a day that Diddy has been accused of committing a horrible crime. But what really happened? Diddy held a Cristal champagne bottle the entire time serving his guests. A source has now spoken out, contextualizing the pictures. JLo is seen furiously shouting at her then partner in the newly released images. She's believed to have walked out on him eventually. Everyone was dancing and enjoying themselves, but as the night progressed, tensions rose between him and JLo. The source, who was seemingly present at the scene and witnessed the former couple butting heads, confessed. Now, the party guests also complained that in the aftermath of this spat with his then-girlfriend, Diddy left the place early on, accompanied by a group of girls and his entourage. Now, earlier that night, in an all-white outfit, JLo was pictured alongside Diddy at the VMAs at Radio City Music Hall. It was an especially special night for her, as she had won the Best Dance Video, and in her acceptance speech, she even thanked Diddy. But it seems like Diddy may have messed all of this up, and maybe the fight was about that. You see, a lawsuit had been filed in October against Diddy for mistreating and taking advantage of a woman. The anonymous accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, said the incident happened after she was driven to an MTV VMA after-party in the year 2000. Now, it seems like this could have happened after Diddy left the nightclub. The lawsuit says that a friend dropped Jane off at the VMAs at the Radio City Music Hall. She did not have a ticket, and she approached various limousine drivers to try to gain access to the show or simply to an after-party. Now, one driver, the lawsuit says, told her that he worked for Diddy and that she fit what Diddy was looking for. He invited her to a party after the show and told her to return to his car later in the evening after he transported Diddy and Jay-Z. Now, later in the night, the driver picked her up, and after 20 minutes, they arrived at a white house with a U-shaped driveway, the suit says. Now, Jane Doe then had to sign a document she believed was a non-disclosure agreement on arrival to enter the party, which the suit says was filled with celebrities. While there, she says she was offered a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down, so she went into a room to rest. Shortly afterwards, the suit says that Diddy and Jay-Z entered the room with Diddy saying, "You are ready to party." That's when she alleges she was taken advantage of by both men, while an unnamed female celebrity watched. Now, after the alleged incident, the suit says, Jane Doe grabbed her clothes and left. Now, what we knew at the time was at the after party, the victim was mistreated by Diddy, while another male celebrity and female celebrity, neither of whom were named in the lawsuit at the time, watched until she was able to escape. Now, this case was refiled on Sunday, December 8th, and it included Jay-Z, aka Sean Carter, in it. Now, it turns out that he was the male celebrity described in the suit. But who was the female celebrity? Some people think it could be J-Lo. I mean, she did attend pretty much all of Diddy's parties, and there's no way she didn't know about all the sketchy stuff going on. Now, one of J-Lo's ex-husbands, Ojani Noah, recently took to social media to distance himself from any connection to Diddy's freak-off parties, but he claimed that J-Lo was one of multiple celebrities present at them. While we do know that J-Lo has been to Diddy parties, as there's actual photographic evidence, there has been nothing official put out about her involvement in freak-offs. In a post on Instagram, Noah shared a list of stars who allegedly attended Diddy's parties, one being J-Lo. "I'm not on the list," he captioned the post. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of Diddy's freak-off parties, no and no, never. But my ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, did ask her. But now it seems like J-Lo is refusing to speak about her ex Diddy. She walked out of an autographing signing at AFI Fest 2024 when someone in the crowd asked her if she had any comments about Diddy and the allegations, according to the US Mirror. Now, the tabloid reported that the singer left immediately despite fans' pleas that she stay. And don't expect her to say anything. In May, after video footage of Diddy hurting his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura was brought to light, J-Lo stayed silent. Many of Diddy's other exes have spoken out against him, but not J-Lo. Though tabloid sources claim that the Cassie footage disgusted her, J-Lo was silent on the subject and has stayed that way. Sources have been saying that Jen is not going to address the accusations or take time to talk about them because it's not her story to tell. If an interviewer brought it up, she would cross that path when it happens, but she won't address it publicly and will not put herself in that conversation on purpose. But J-Lo has spoken out in the past before about her relationship with Diddy, and some people believe that she might be a victim of his. Throughout their relationship and then after their breakup, J-Lo was aware of rumors that Diddy was cheating on her. Now, Diddy has admitted to cheating on multiple girlfriends in the past, so she was most likely right. "It was the first time I was with someone who wasn't faithful," she told Vibe magazine after the breakup. "I was in a relationship with Puff where I was totally crying, crazy, and going nuts. It really took my whole life in a tailspin." Now, she then grew increasingly concerned about his fidelity. "I never caught him, but I just knew," she said of the cheating. He'd say he was going to the club for a couple of hours and never come back that night. Now, Diddy himself admitted that he was often unfaithful in relationships. But with Diddy's recent arrest, people have been questioning how he treated J-Lo. An anonymous source said he was very controlling, he would constantly put her in uncomfortable situations. "This is a good girl from the Bronx who never got into trouble or was wild." Now, the source also said he never hurt J-Lo, but she had her longtime manager, Benny Medina, to protect her. Benny would have ended Puffy's life if he laid a hand on J-Lo. But still, Puffy was controlling and demanding. But there's been a conflicting report though, as another source who knew the couple at the time said he definitely manhandled her, but it's a little low to bring that up all now. It's kicking a man when he's down. Then there's also the fact that J-Lo's mom didn't like Diddy. When J-Lo was asked about Diddy in 2022 when she was on the Wendy Williams show, Wendy asked if she and Diddy would ever get back together. Now, J-Lo laughed and shook her head as the cameras panned to her mom sitting in the audience. Now, J-Lo's mother looked furious as she shouted no while waving her hand back and forth. Now, that reaction spoke volumes, and it seemed like she knew something the rest of us didn't. Now, it's important to note that J-Lo has not been connected legally to any of Diddy's crimes. The only celebrity who's been named with him is Jay-Z, who is obviously denying all the claims. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens in this case.
The Daily Mail reports that the Jenny from the Block singer and air director met up January 5th, aka Golden Globes Day, at Affleck's home. From photos acquired from the meetup, it seems the pair seemed to be on good terms. It appears that J-Lo even gave Ben's son a big hug. Despite the sweet meetup, that doesn't mean the couple is getting back together anytime soon. In fact, the opposite might be true. It's known now that the two megastars are getting a divorce, but the process is taking a step forward into settlement territory. J-Lo is also apparently looking to drop drop the Affleck from her last name. Just because JLo is leaving the Affleck surname behind doesn't mean she's dropping the whole family. A source claiming to be close to the couple says that the pair decided to remain in each other's lives even though they aren't romantically involved anymore. JLo was a parent to Affleck's children and vice versa while they were married, and that is not something that you can just erase. The source said the pair are agreeing to communicate when it involves the kids, and that's already happening, it seems. At the Sunday meetup, JLo's child seems to have been exiting Ben's house carrying a large gift in their hands. Affleck walked behind them. As previously stated, JLo embraced Affleck's son, a sweet interaction all around. The source shared that though the pair aren't necessarily looking to co-parent or have that type of relationship, they are still close to each other's families and feel as though they have a blended family in a lot of ways. Affleck and Lopez, along with Affleck's ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, were all spotted in the same place just before last year ended. Their kids attend school together and were in a play. Makes sense considering who their parents are. Photos of the famous celebs from the event show nothing but proud parents and happy vibes all around. It's unclear how involved the adults will be as the divorce moves forward, especially with an official settlement apparently being reached. People were shocked to learn though that JLo and Affleck did not sign a prenup before marrying, especially since they both do so much and then make so much from what they do. It was shocking that they would risk splitting everything 50-50. TMZ has broken the news that the pair have allegedly come to an agreement though. TMZ reported some of what was presumably on the table through what each party is apparently set to keep. Affleck's stake in Artist Equity, the production company that he and BFF Matt Damon created in 2022, about 4 months after Affleck married JLo, that is sticking with its founder. The company has had a successful run so far with films like Air and Unstoppable, the latter actually featuring JLo, which, speaking of, JLo has a number of individual success stories from the marriage, like her romantic comedy, Marry Me, which I actually saw in theaters, had a great time, her self-produced musical album movie and documentary about said movie, plus a few other film endeavors that she is keeping. It all boils down to the easy idea that whatever the person earned, they get to keep. But there is one thing that they did share, and that was their house. Now, I wasn't in the room with their lawyers and all the details are confidential, so I have no idea exactly how they're dividing up that $61 million mansion, but TMZ claims that an agreement has been reached, so there is that. As of right now, the house is still on the market, so we will have to wait and see exactly how it all proceeds. Apparently, the whole situation was mediated by Laura Wasser, and she clearly did a great job. As it stands, neither party is due to pay spousal support to the other. But is an amicable agreement really that shocking? From photos and clips of their recent meetups, it's clear the former couple are still very civil with each other, some might even say friendly. It's clear there's still affection there. Plus, they both had successful years well together. Why not just let the other person keep what they made? Allegedly, they even met up at the tail end of last year to exchange holiday gifts. The divorce was filed back in August, and it appears everything is almost in order, and now they're just waiting for the official finalization date of February 20th, roughly 6 months after everything first started. The source close to the couple shared that due to their history, Affleck and Lopez will always have a mutual respect for one another. New footage has dropped of JLo that has people whispering that Jenny from the block has made a deal with the devil. I know that is probably not what you were expecting to hear next, but here we are. The clips emerged around November of last year, right in the middle of the whole divorce with Ben Affleck's situation. You know, going through a divorce is known to be a difficult thing, but take one look at JLo and you would never guess. Seriously, the woman is glowing and looks stunning in literally every red carpet appearance, every paparazzi picture, and every selfie. Of course, that leaves people to draw one conclusion as to how the artist is getting this stunning image. Spoiler, it's not financial security or a dedicated support team, but that she must have made a deal with the devil. Celebrities being accused of demon dealing, is that new? No, unfortunately not. Conspiracies rule the internet. But at least this time, the viral tweet first making the demonic claim appears to at least be a joke. JLo appeared at the LA premiere of Wicked in a glittering gown. She looked incredible. Popular Twitter celebrity updates account, Pop Base, shared a clip of JLo posing on the red carpet. The tweet was viewed millions of times and had thousands of engagements, but one stood out from the rest. A quote tweet that read, "She traded her vocals for eternal beauty and hasn't looked bad a day since." Now listen, the context to this tweet is people like to be mean to JLo on the internet after they found out that many of her tracks feature vocals from other performers that JLo either claims to be her own or she just doesn't clarify that the main voice isn't her. Then there was also the cancelled tour and a series of memes spawned from her This Is Me Now situation documentary, especially since so many celebrities turned down appearing in them, and some that did appear in the movies seemed more confused than anything else. And then there was the whole misunderstanding where it looked like JLo had asked longtime friend Derek Huff to move his wedding around to accommodate her movie. Point is, there is a lot that has happened regarding the singer over the past few years, and roasting JLo just seems to be an internet pastime right now. But there is one thing that the people cannot touch, and that is her look. JLo truly always looks good. A positive, ongoing comment about JLo is that you will never catch her looking ugly or broke, and that has been proven true time and time again. Even when there is so much seemingly going on with the star personally, she's always glowing. So it must be a deal with the devil. Of course, what's the real secret to JLo looking 10 out of 10 all the time? What is she hiding? It's clear the star is naturally beautiful, but that is enhanced by a glam squad and, as many people speculate, cosmetic procedures. JLo has said publicly that she prefers to age naturally and isn't one to run and get a lot of work done, but not everyone believes her. Some have accused the performer of getting major surgeries. One person even accused her of using her family's genes to get a vampire facial, seemingly implying her eternal youth comes at the expense of her own youths, which that is definitely a sentence someone has typed about her. I almost missed the initial devil accusation. Generally, people seem to believe, including some aesthetic doctors, that if JLo has had work done, it is often subtle and expertly performed so that she never has a jarring transformation, so stuff like Botox or fillers. The most common major procedure people believe to have happened to the star is a nose job. Apparently her nose was originally slightly wider when she started out her career. Now there is technically some truth behind that rumor. JLo confirmed getting a nose job when she was younger, but that was more medical than anything else to fix a deviated septum. Is JLo hiding other cosmetic procedures? Well, that is unclear, as is her involvement with the leader of the underworld. But if I had to hazard a guess, I think that JLo's youthful glow can be attributed to confidence, well-placed cosmetics, lighting, and maybe a cute Instagram filter every once in a while.